In this video, we're going to look at Alabama's run game in the national championship. It's one of those things that set them apart from a lot of different teams. Their passing game is very similar to what LSU had last year. NFL concepts, lots of easy throws, getting the ball out quickly to their athletes. But their run game is a lot more complex than what LSU had. LSU was basically inside zone, duo, and that's what they ran about 95-96% of the time. They didn't have much else. But right here we'll look at all the runs that Alabama used in the national championship game. First look that we're going to look at is this typical GH counter, and they run this quite a bit with their protection. They'll full slide away from it, pull a guard, fake the run that direction. They also motion the guys in the stack just like they're doing right here so they can get free releases. And right here we'll play it and see Ohio State's in a 4-2 box, so it should be good. A lot of times those four fronts, they're going to squeeze, two safety look, going to be good to run the ball. They'll squeeze, trying to make everything bounce. And you can see right here this D end is squeezing extremely hard and doesn't even really have to get much on him, just puts a hand on him. He runs all the way past where the center was. A little bit of control on that squeeze right there. And there's that play side linebacker for that H pulling around the kick. Right there for the rules, obviously from tackle all the way to the center, you're going to have inside gap to backside linebacker. If you can get double team, like right here with this 3 technique, they should get a good double team there to the backside linebacker. And we'll look at it right there to the nose. He's trying to work double team. It looks like he slants that direction. And then he's basically free releasing up to that backside linebacker. Gets a body on him. He tries to go over the top, stay with him, try to run him as far as you can. He actually cuts back off of that. And you can see right there, you got to squeeze, wrong shoulders it. Then there's the kick right there on that backer, scraping over the top. And they get a body for a body. He's chasing inside out. You got safety there. Creates a big play there for Alabama. This look right here, Alabama's still in that 20 personnel set. Even though his fullback looks like he's in a receiver stance, he's still there to run counter. Ohio State has walked a backer down into the box, so it should be working. Basically, you're not going to pass up color when you're going to the backside linebacker. If somebody shows up, take them, and that would count as somebody showing up in off color. So right here, they're down blocking, especially play side. You can see inside gap. If there's somebody in color, he slants to that A gap, works straight up. You find that backer, go ahead and pin that guy. One thing right here you can see, he's supposed to be on that backside nose. Right there, he steps to it, and then he just leaves him, goes to that linebacker for whatever reason. Doesn't trust his track right there. Should be right there on that nose. So that nose is free on this counter, and they get lucky and are unable to make him miss. Keeps him from having a negative play right there. So you got a free guy right there. And this time, then instead of squeezing and wrong shoulder and everything, he tries to pin it. So right here, he does a good job of squeezing that a little bit. Probably needs to go a little bit there, but almost gets a hand on him, is able to get him down, but just enough there from the guard to push him by. But they're able to make a free nose miss right there. There's the gap hinge back to that end. But right here still, it's a 4-2 box, and they're able to make some guys miss, even though they miss up front as far as their assignments. Make some guys miss on a critical 3rd and 5 to able to get the first down right there. Right there you can see that even though they win the national championship and are one of the best teams of all time, they still make mistakes, and sometimes they get lucky and their guys in the backfield can make up for it. Another run that Alabama ran was duo. They get into the bunch set, very similar to the way that LSU did it last year. And basically it looks like inside zone, or they're going to have their inside gap up, basically like your front side of power. And these guys right here, they're in a bunch. He kicks out. He's going to help inside gap up to the linebacker. If there's an end, he's going to block him, try to wash him as far that way as possible. And then that receiver's going to fold around for that safety or the linebacker that's filled in right there. Right here with the 4-3 look, you can see he's right there on that D end. Everybody else is inside gap trying to get up to that linebacker. He's folding around for the alley player. Leave that corner and try to kick him out right there. Leave the corner to try to make the play, whether it's out into the alley or stepping down into the box. With this view right here, you can really tell what's taking place. They're probably going to get a little double team right there. He's going to be backside, get a double there up to that backer. He's going to be backside right there. He's filling to try to wash that end. Now, obviously, if he jumps out, he can pin that, and they can just run right there to that alley. He's going to be outside right there trying to kick out. He's right there to the safety to leave this corner to try to make a play. Right here on this one, they hand front side straight at it. And right here he's coming in with the receiver to the linebacker. And right there you can see Najee ends up bouncing it. There is a free linebacker. They don't get up to him. The 3 technique does a pretty good job of creating a pile, not letting him get up to the linebacker. But really, Najee should go inside right there. He's got a kick, and make that corner fill in to that gap. He may only get 2 or 3, but right here he ends up bouncing it. This corner right here does a pretty good job of low angle tackling for a negative play there for Ohio State early in the game. Here's another look at Ohio State, this time on the goal line, running duo, running it this direction towards the bunch again. So inside gap, going to get double team right there up. He's going to kick out, and he's filling in. You can see how tight this safety or linebacker is, and that's a problem right there, that receiver's not able to get to him. So they coach that guy up, hey, if you see those down blocks, fill right there so you beat that receiver. Now, obviously, if he can get a little bit more on him, he can probably bounce that, and then you're one-on-one with that corner. But right here, again, a pretty good play there to tackle him for a negative play. So they kind of got away from the duo. Looked like Ohio State schemed it up a little bit and did a really good job of tackling Najee when he was trying to bounce it, or was able to beat the block on the goal line to create a negative play. This run's one of their favorite actions to run to take shots. They show their zone base or ISO and take a lot of shots because it's great protection. It's also an easy way for that fullback to get out into the route, to be a viable option for the check down. And obviously they throw the ball to those guys quite a bit, whether it's him or the running back out into the flats late. But right here we'll take a look at the run, and you can see they're running a little bit of RPO there. They got the bubble RPO. You can see the safety had walked down. His backer was wide. So right there with those guys being that tight, this is a pre-snap read. So hey, we're just going to hand the ball off right here. May fake the throw, but handing it off because they've got 3 over there. Even though they blitz that guy from depth, he's not going to be able to get there and make a play. So right here, you can see again a 4-2 box with a 6-man surface right here for Alabama. So you're going to be plus in the box, or at least neutral. And right here, they're basing right here, and they're actually showing pass. They're trying to get him upfield, and they do a good job of changing up what they're doing right there, making them rush and then running the ball underneath it. They did that a couple times with a couple different runs. But right here you can see getting a slant right there. He's slowing it, letting him get across his face to wash that guy as far as he can. He's rolling backside, got to be an athlete. He goes to the gap that he didn't quite think he was going to get into, and he rolls right there to that backside linebacker or front side, depending on if you're calling it ice or zone lead. And right here, double team up to that back on that one technique that's slanting. Again, they're slanting to the fullback, and double right there up to that linebacker and basing out right there. So interesting way to run that ISO, and they pass set that, so it creates a really wide alley. You can see he's all the way 5 yards deep by the time he gets to the line of scrimmage, so that's a huge alley. And you got this backer trying to fill in. That's too much space to come from right there to be able to make a play in the backfield. And obviously he's a little out of control, runs right past the ball, and Najee's able to make a big play right there for Alabama. Here's Alabama and get into heavy set and run an ISO at these guys on short yards and end of game situations. They have a fullback over here. They've got another fullback here. And this fullback right here melted this linebacker. Every time they ran ISO, he did a really good job with it. And so what they're going to do is they're going to get a double team right there to that linebacker. Base, 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 base out. He's going to work up with that tackle to that linebacker. So he's going to slide step downhill, smoke that cat. And we'll look at it real quick. You can see there's a double team working right there. Here's the linebacker filling. Fullback knows, hey, it's going to be a pretty good collision. Putting your shoulder on him, does a great job keeping his head out of it. So he puts his shoulder right there. He uses the right shoulder, which that linebacker's probably filling the correct gap, trying to get him to bounce, so then that next guy can fill in, and that's the safety right there. But you can see they've got a body for a body. That linebacker stepped up right there. The fullback got him, and right there, that running back, keeping his momentum, is going to run through that, get into the end zone. So really good job right there, just taking a body for a body. And again, fullback doing a great job putting his shoulder on him, not putting his head, and then able to get into the end zone right there with a powerful run. This is the same run on the last drive, and they started with their fullback over here, motioning him across to create an extra surface over there. And right here, Ohio State's got a 4-4 box, which right there should be neutral. You got a corner down as well, but probably not going to count that guy in the box. This looks a little bit more like a zone. You can see their very first step. Looks like they're kind of zoning that direction. From looking at the numbers right here, you can see they're going to double there to there. That fullback's going to be right there. The center and guard are doubling the nose to the backside linebacker. These guys are probably doubling there to there. And there's the tight end right there, leaving that corner. You got a body for everybody else. You can see there, it looks like they're stretching a little bit. It's still downhill with the running back, reverse out, handoff to give. And you can see again this fullback. He's going to come right here, try to put his shoulder on him. Don't put your head on him. Great job again, puts his right shoulder. Just stalemates that guy, and then it continues to climb into him, not to let him get off. So that's a really good job by that fullback. Hadn't seen him a ton this year, but he made There's some really good plays right there in the national championship, especially late. And this creates a big play right here for Alabama that gives them another first down in the fourth quarter when they're trying to run the clock out. So real simple, but the fundamentals right there are really good, and they're able to get up on all the linebackers and make those guys scrape over the top, so then they can make big plays. So ISO right there out of a heavy set on the goal line, and when they're trying to run the clock out for Alabama, was a big thing, especially in the fourth quarter. This look right here looks like Alabama actually checked to this run. You can see that they check something different. This fullback steps up. It's a 4-1 box. These guys pretty tight, so really 4-3, 2 safety look. Want to run the ball just like Coach Sarkisian would want to do against any 4-1 box or 4-3 box. And right here, they check to an outside zone. And so what they're going to do, they're going to get a double from the fullback and the tackle there to that outside backer. These guys right here do a really good job, and I thought this was really interesting that they knew they're going to double team out to that spot on this play, so they actually double this corner up to that safety. So I thought that was a really interesting thing. They're leaving him for that fullback to work to. They did a good job communicating that and understanding that he was going to get to that spot as opposed to trying to block man on. So right here you can see, again, with that forefront, he's going to try to read that block, try to reach, pin that thing back because he's the edge setter. Sorry, he's trying to keep his outside shoulder free. He does set the edge. Najee has to go vertical right there. Exactly what they want, but there's really nobody else there to fill in and help out. But right here at center guard, they're reaching there to that linebacker, and of course this linebacker's stepping down, so that center just takes him. And right there, they got a body for a body, stretched it. He had to set the edge because that's his job, getting vertical right there, just getting enough of that nose so that he can get vertical and create a big play right there for Alabama. Again, in the run game, one of the things that they've been doing is just counting the box. If it's a 6-man box and they've got enough guys, they're going to run it, and if not, they're going to take that shot. Here's a look at pin and pull, and Alabama had been running pin and pull, especially early in the game. They ran the first 2 plays, someone with RPOs, and threw the ball out there with varying success. And Ohio State was popping linebackers, and that's what you really don't want when you're pinning and pulling. But right here, kind of looking at the rules. Inside gap. They end up pulling this guard to kick, and they pull that center to lead right there. They cut this backside. He's free releasing up to those linebackers right there. But right here, we'll take a look at it. Really good down blocks. Right here on this side, you can see he's getting a little penetration. Don't really want to do that, but he's able to get just enough to let that center get around. And then there's a good down block there by the fullback. One thing right here on this look, you can see the backs over here on this side. Mac Jones is faking a pass out that direction, probably trying to get that linebacker to step over there. And he holds just for a second, and then he flips it out there to Najee. So he pumps, then he flips it over there to him. Good job being under control and knowing that that kick's going to get there, and he's going to have to get vertical. So he can't just take off running on that for the kick. But right there, boom, we're coming trying to get our play side shoulder. It's just enough of them, just like all these others. They're kind of dodging, getting just enough of them. And there's that center getting vertical right there on that linebacker. This guy right here is actually the guy that they cut from the backside. So you can see him right here. He's getting on him. He's cutting. Right there, you got to keep rolling to try to keep his legs down. But right there, he just cuts. That guy pops back up. Great hustle play there by 52. He's able to get back in on the play. So right there, he gets back in on the play, but Najee one-on-one with him, he still drags him for about 6 or 7 yards. So, I mean, great play, but he's not able to get him down, and that's what, having great players can do for you. Even though you got a guy that was unblocked, he's still able to get 6 or 7 after contact. This is a look that I thought was really interesting. They're actually running their tackle power here with the pass set. Again, letting that guy hopefully get upfield. But we'll look at it, and you can see he's pass setting, trying to change up what they're doing. Not going to only pass set when you're passing the ball downfield, but also whenever you're running every now and then to try to play with those defensive ends and what they think. And then also sometimes you'll fire off right there whenever you're getting into pro. But right there, he's pass setting. You can see this end. His guy's getting the backfield, and he's thinking, oh, well, they're about to run the ball, so he kind of hesitates for a second. Great job right there to pass set and then not just keep setting, but then he sees, all right, he's kind of slowing down, so I got to go get him now. And now he's soft. So big body right there. Physics right there should take hold. Big guy on a littler guy, right? So he's going to move that D end. And you can see right there, he crunches him a little bit. Looks like he's at least 70, 80 pounds heavier than that guy. And now they're running that power. But we'll look at it again. So basing right there, they're pulling the tackle, so you don't have to gap hinge with his guard or anything. So they should double there to there. He's going to try to get to that D end. He's pulling for that front side right there. The action in the backfield is just pretty much a straight handoff. But right here you can see again, if you get a body for a body, show him pass set. Then he drives right there, does a good job. He's got inside gap, straight hand, and right there, Najee, right there behind that tackle with his hand on his back to help guide him. And then he bounces that thing because he's able to pin that back inside, which obviously he's probably supposed to be an edge setter. Now there's no edge. Great patience there by Najee just to slide to that C gap. That backer's not able to get there, even though they can't get to him with that tackle. So right there, good patience. You can see him reading that second level, seeing that backer, then he just slides out to that gap because they get that guy pinned inside. And right there, he's off to the races, one-on-one with the linebacker. Obviously going to be hard to scrape over the top of all that when you're not sure that you're going to be a C-gap defender. So he's able to outrun that guy and get a big play there early in the game.